Today's video, I want to talk about three critical factors that is responsible for muscle growth. There's only three. Three primary drivers of muscle growth are mechanical tension, metabolic stress, and muscle damage. Those are the three. Most people think growth, it's random, like you just go to the gym, you lift weights and you get big. It's actually not. And I want to dive deep into the science of this so you guys can understand these three basic factors: mechanical tension, metabolic stress, and muscle damage. When you understand these, then you can control your workouts and really be intentional about how you do the exercises if you understand the principles behind each of these things. So for the first one, mechanical tension. What is mechanical tension? So mechanical tension is essentially, it's tension that occurs when you're lifting a weight and you generate force against that resistance. So easy example, bench press or deadlifts, where you have a weight and you're going to push it against resistance. For bench press, it's up against your pectoralis major muscles. You have it against your chest, you push it against your pecs, and that force is against the resistance of the load pulled by gravity, and that is actually stimulating the muscle that activates the growth signaling pathways. So how do you maximize muscle tension? How do you do that? Well, number one, you have to live close to failure. You got to have a challenge in the gym. You're just not doing light weights with high reps. You need to go medium amount of reps, 6 to 12. And you need to get close to muscular failure or failure. Practically, for safety purposes, I would say just go close to failure. You want to control the reps. You don't want to use momentum, because with mechanical tension, you want your muscles to be under the most amount of tension for the most amount of time, for the positive concentric and the eccentric, which is the negative. And you want to focus on compound lifts because, as I said in another video, compound lifts really recruits many different muscle fibers, especially doing, let's say, deadlifts. It works your entire posterior chain. That's why mechanical tension is important. And also mechanical tension, mechanical tension is why progressive overload is so important, and it is the foundation of muscle growth. And progressive overload, for those that don't know, is really challenging yourself week to week to put on more and more weight as you get stronger and as your body adapts to the load. Now, the second lever is metabolic stress. That's where people feel what's called the pump. And it's good to chase the pump, because when you chase the pump, it helps growth. What I mean by that is what's really going on in the pump. When you chase the pump, that increases your muscle cells to swell. It boosts anabolic hormone signaling, and it forces more muscular fiber recruitment. And that's why it's important. Now, to chase the pump, yes, you want to try to pump as much blood into the muscle. So you're going to do around moderate to high reps, around 8 to 20 or so. You want short rest periods. A good way to demonstrate this is doing, let's say, drop sets or supersets. And just for your information, drop sets is where you start with a high weight, you go to failure, you take out the pin, you go to a lower weight, you go to failure or fatigue, you take out the pin, you go to lower weight, and then you do as many reps as possible until you're completely fatigued. Supersets is where you're doing one exercise and then you go directly to another exercise. Probably drop sets are easier to do, especially during a crowded time at the gym. Instead of supersets, you don't want to be hogging all these different machines. So I would recommend doing drop sets or moderate to high reps to chase the pump. You can chase the pump using cable exercises. That's really one way. As I said in my example, if you do the cable exercise, you start with a high rep and then a high amount of weight, high amounts of reps, and then you have the pin on, let's say, 50 pounds, fatigue yourself, go to 30 pounds, do as many reps as you can, fatigue yourself, go down 10 pounds, fatigue yourself, go as much as you can, and you're still on the machine with the cable. You're just changing the pin on the cable machine. And there's definitely a strong signal for hypertrophy. So just know that, yes, the pump is good, and it does have some benefit and is one of the levers that you signal for hypertrophy. And the last one, muscle damage. Essentially, muscle damage is microscopic tears to your muscles. And your body adapts to the micro tears when you step out of the gym, you go back home, you fuel yourself with protein and essential amino acids, and that rebuilding of the muscle damage via the micro tears is muscular adaptation. Now, how do you know when you had muscle damage? You'll know when you had muscle damage where you have what's called delayed onset muscle soreness, otherwise known as DOMS. You also will feel some muscular stiffness after the gym. That's how you know you have damaged your muscles, in a good way, of course. And also you might experience some reduced strength temporarily. Doesn't mean you're getting weaker. It's just that if you go to the gym and you can't lift as much, it's probably because you haven't given yourself enough time to recover from that muscular session. Now, how do you create more muscular damage? How do you get more bang for your buck? Well, during the negative phase, resist the weight. This is one thing that I see a lot of new people, even intermediate people at the gym, they relax during the lowering phase. For instance, bench press, they push the weight towards them and then they just let the weight drop. By letting the weight drop, you're essentially relaxing. Same thing with a squat. You squat the weight up, okay, that's the positive, and then you come down and you use that stress reflex. That entire time you're coming down, you just relax or use less effort. You want to slow down and increase that resistance and do not give in to just lowering the weight. You have to resist it and come down slowly. When you're coming down slowly, you're actually destroying and causing more muscular micro tears and muscle damage, which will be a benefit. That is going to cause your body to signal those muscles to grow. So you want to do slow negative reps. When you're doing squats, control it slowly. When you're doing bench presses, let the weight come down slowly. Control it, resist it. Don't just let the bar fall down and bounce off your chest. Okay, that's, you're really losing the benefit. That doesn't really help you. So, progressive overload, again, I just want to go over that for those of you that are new. Progressive overload is when you increase some training variable, some aspect, whether that's putting more weight, increasing more reps, increasing the number of sets, increasing the amount of training volume and intensity. Without progressive overload, your muscles are not going to adapt. Okay, so it's just plain and simple. So that's the science behind the 3 levers that I went over, which is mechanical tension, metabolic stress, and muscle damage. And used the tips that I had described here in this video to help benefit you. If you found this video helpful, really appreciate it if you hit the like button, share this video, and if you really love my content, please consider subscribing. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys on the next one.